Well, that phrase, go woke, go broke, kind of applies a little bit to the RAF. But I'm just going to say as well, it's not long now until I am joined by the ever-popular Tory MP, Deputy Chair, of course, Lee Anderson. That's going to be box office stuff. There's a lot to get stuck into with Lee Anderson. Now, white men seeking to join the Royal Air Force were described as useless white male pilots in leaked emails that exposed the pressure placed on recruitment officers to improve diversity. So the RAF, some of the people who are tasked with defending the realm, keeping us safe, doing an incredibly difficult job, you know, military stuff, thought, well, I know what this needs more of. This needs more diversity. So according to a defence source, the pressure has been on selection boards to include more women and more ethnic minorities. As a result of this, 31 white men who are said to have been unfairly disadvantaged by the recruitment policy are being paid £5,000 each in compensation. What on earth is the world coming to? There's diversity quotas in the media, there's diversity quotas in the corporate world. You don't need to mess around with our military and our RAF and anyone else whose singular job is to keep us all alive and attack our enemies. Personally, I couldn't care less whether or not every single person flying the planes that managed to blow up a load of Russian tanks or whatever happened to all come from Eton, or whether or not they all come from somewhere else. I really don't care. Why do we have to have quotas? And what happened, apparently, is that these people who just very innocently applied to try to do their duty and put their lives on the line for you and I were unfairly disadvantaged. They had their recruitment process held up. I mean, good grief. Now they're going to be paid £5,000 each. I suspect that should be much higher. Why would we try to literally make our country less safe to be sacrificed at the altar of wokedom and diversity? I can now speak with combat veteran Trevor Colt. Trevor, thank you very much. Great to have you on the show. This is absolute madness, isn't it? Why does diversity come into play when it comes to our armed forces, our military, our RAF?
Well, first of all, Patrick, thank you for having me on. I do appreciate it. There's a simple reason for this, Patrick. And this has been happening over the last 20, 25 years. And this is to do, and it all stems back to the United Kingdom Honours and Awards list. We have people out there, men and women, who don't care who flies or anything. All they care about is sitting there with their MBE, their CBE, their OBE. They want honours and awards. And the only way to get honours and awards at senior levels in our military is to tick all the boxes, the equality and diversity boxes. Now, this is what's happening in the RAF. And I will say this, and this may have backlash, but the Royal Air Force are the wokest part of our armed forces in the United Kingdom. What we have here is people who have reached senior ranks in the Royal Air Force through box ticking and not through professionalism, not through experience, and not through knowledge. They've got there through a series of box ticking, and now they're at the top. They're trying to bring other people through and a series of box ticking. So now we have the top of our armed forces that are all there through ticking equality and diversity and all the other things rather than experience. We don't have knowledge and experience now at the top levels, and they all want to sit home with honours and awards. That's what it's about, Patrick.
Do you think that there are better pilots for our RAF out there than the ones that we are choosing, i.e. we are less safe and less well-equipped, as it were, as a result of diversity than we would be if we just employed the best people for the job?
Patrick, of course, we've got hundreds of applicants that want to join the Royal Air Force. They want to be pilots. Everyone wants to be a fighter pilot. But unfortunately, what's happened is you may have 13 or 14 people go for that job and 6 are being turned away because we have too many white people. Rather than have 12 or 13 fantastic pilots. Now, you have to ask yourself this. Why are women not stepping forward and those from the minority culture not stepping forward? Because they don't want those jobs. They don't want those jobs. So you should be happy that we're having people that actually want those roles. Now you're sending them away, and now they're getting claims for discrimination. And unfortunately, until we get rid of this, the thing which stops everything from happening, Patrick, is the honours and awards list. Now, OK, I may have a medal, but I'll tell you what, it comes with hell. It comes with fingers pointing. The minute we get rid of the honours and awards system, we will see people work because they want to work rather than line their own pockets.
I just think it's absolutely insulting to the people who, whenever you decide to apply for pretty much any frontline, front-facing job in the military, you are signing away a lot of your rights. You are saying, I am willing to die for it was Queen, now King and country. And that deserves the utmost respect because not a lot of people are brave enough to want to do that. And to turn people away who are willing to do that, basically because they're white, I think is an absolute scandal. And this is one area where we cannot afford to play games and mess around when it comes to our national security. And you think that maybe diversity is getting in the way of our national security?
Without a shadow of a doubt, but without a shadow of a doubt, Paddy, and it's hard to say this without smiling, but our Home Secretary, our Prime Minister, those in charge of the Cabinet Office, those at the top, you know, it seems that the white culture is being pushed aside in order to box tick. And I'm not the only one who can see it. You can see it. Everyone can see it. And it needs to stop.
Well, it's interesting because when it comes to someone like, for example, Suella Braverman, I mean, obviously she gets a lot of pushback from a lot of people who are in the ethnic minority, a variety of different ethnic minority communities, because they call her a lot of names because she doesn't appear to be wanting to maybe pander to the diversity thing. So I can see both sides of that, Trevor. I think specifically when it comes to the RAF, though, that is somewhere where I really don't think we should be messing around at all. Look, Trevor, thank you very much for your time. It's Trevor Colt there, combat veteran as well, of course, just giving his two pennies worth. Now, the RAF has released the following statement. The Royal Air Force will not shy away from the challenges we face, building a service that attracts and recruits talent from every part of the UK workforce. We will continue doing everything we can to increase our recruiting intake from underrepresented groups within the provisions of the law. All individuals joining the Royal Air Force were and are selected on merit, and any individuals that were advanced to their training courses had already passed the selection process. There was no compromise of entry standards and no impact